Execution over motivation. You have been waiting for a feeling that was never meant to lead you. You wait to feel ready. You wait to feel fired up. You wait to feel confident. You wait to feel like a new man. And while you wait, your life stays the same. Let me tell you something you need to hear. Motivation is not a weapon. Motivation is a spark. A spark is useful, but a spark is not a fire. A spark dies the moment the wind shifts. Execution is the fire. Execution burns in the dark. Execution burns in the cold. Execution burns when nobody is watching. Execution burns when you are tired, bored, angry, and unappreciated. That is why weak men worship motivation, because motivation makes them feel powerful without demanding proof. It lets them fantasize about discipline without paying the price. It lets them plan a new life without building one. It lets them talk about greatness while staying safe. Execution does not let you hide. Execution exposes you. It reveals what you are, not what you claim to be. So listen to me. If you want a stronger body, you do not need motivation. You need reps. If you want money, you do not need motivation. You need output. If you want self-respect, you do not need motivation. You need obedience to your own standards. If you want a mission, you do not need motivation. You need daily action that moves the mission forward. The world is full of men who feel a lot. They feel inspired, they feel angry, they feel ambitious, they feel hungry for more, and they still do nothing. Because feeling is not doing. A man is not defined by what he wants. A man is defined by what he repeatedly executes. That is why your life looks the way it looks, not because you are unlucky, not because society is unfair, not because you did not have support, because you have not executed long enough to earn the outcome. Every life is built the same way, brick by brick, day by day, rep by rep. Execution is the brick. Motivation is just the music playing in the background, and the music always stops. So I am going to give you laws, not 10, not 20, 7, condensed, clean, sharp. You live by these, and your life changes, because your behavior changes, and behavior is destiny. Law 1. Motivation is a mood. Execution is a command. A mood comes and goes. If you build your life on moods, you will build a life that collapses. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel weak. If your output depends on the day, you will stay average. Execution is different. Execution is an order you give yourself, and a man who can give himself an order and obey it is dangerous, because he is not controlled by weather inside his chest. He is controlled by purpose. You do not ask yourself if you feel like training. You train because you decided that is who you are. You do not ask yourself if you feel like working. You work because you decided your mission is bigger than your comfort. The decision comes first. The feelings can follow or stay behind. It does not matter. That is manhood. Law 2. You cannot think your way into action. You act your way into strength. Most men try to solve their life with thoughts. They watch more videos. They read more quotes. They plan more routines. They wait for clarity. Clarity comes after movement. In war, you do not sit in the bunker, waiting for perfect conditions. You move and you adjust. Action creates feedback. Feedback creates accuracy. Accuracy creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. That is the real order. Not motivation, then action. Action, then confidence. The strongest men you know are not strong because they felt powerful one morning. They are strong because they did the hard thing so many times, their nervous system stopped panicking. they taught their body and mind a simple lesson. We do not run, we execute. Law 3. Execution is built on systems, not willpower. Willpower is a limited resource. It drains when you are stressed. It drains when you are tired. It drains when life hits you. So if your plan is, I will rely on willpower, your plan is weak. A disciplined man uses systems. He does not depend on heroic effort. He sets up a structure that makes execution normal. He trains at the same time. He works in blocks. He eats with standards. He protects sleep. He reduces decisions that lead to temptation. Because every decision costs energy, and when energy is gone, weak habits take over. Systems remove friction. Systems turn discipline into routine. Routine turns effort into identity. Identity is the deepest form of motivation because it does not require hype. It requires standards. Law 4. Small executions are not small. They are votes for your identity. Men underestimate the power of small actions because small actions do not look heroic. But your life is not built by heroic moments. It is built by daily votes. Every time you wake up and execute, you vote for the man you want to be. Every time you hit the gym when you do not feel like it, you vote. Every time you sit down and do focused work, you vote. Every time you say no to a craving that weakens you, you vote. Every time you keep your word, you vote. And every time you break your word, you vote for weakness. You are always becoming something. You are never standing still. So do not tell me the small things do not matter. The small things are the only things that matter because they build the pattern. And the pattern becomes your life. A man who executes small things becomes a man who can be trusted with big things. A man who avoids small things will avoid big things too, because avoidance is a habit. Law 5. Execution requires tolerance for boredom and discomfort. This is where most men fail. Not because the work is too hard, because the work is too boring. They cannot handle repetition. They cannot handle slow progress. They cannot handle silence. They cannot handle doing something with no immediate reward. So they chase stimulation. They switch goals. They switch routines. They switch identities. They live like a man trying on masks. A man worth respect is not a man who tries everything. He is a man who commits and endures. Execution is often dull. The same lifts, the same meals, the same blocks of work, the same habits. That monotony is the forge. That boredom is the price. And if you cannot pay it, you will spend your life weak because you will never stay with anything long enough to get strong. Understand this. Discomfort is not a sign you are doing it wrong. Discomfort is the signal that you are leaving the soft life behind. Your body and mind resist change. They want to preserve comfort. Execution is how you override that instinct. You teach yourself that discomfort is not danger. Discomfort is training. Law 6. Execution is loyalty to the mission when the mind is loud. Some days your mind will scream. It will tell you to delay. It will tell you you deserve rest. It will tell you it is not worth it. It will tell you you are behind anyway. That voice is not truth. That voice is resistance. Resistance shows up every time you approach growth, because growth threatens the old version of you, and the old version of you fights to survive. So, your mind tries to bargain. Just today, just this week, just this one time. This is how men lose years, one bargain at a time. Execution is loyalty. Loyalty to the mission, even when you are not inspired, even when nobody praises you, even when the results are not visible yet. If you only execute when the path is easy, You are not loyal. You are convenient. And convenience builds nothing. A man becomes dangerous when he becomes loyal to the standard. When he decides, no matter what, I execute, that is when the world changes around him, because he stopped being negotiable. Law 7. Execution is what makes you calm under pressure. Pressure reveals the truth. When life squeezes you, what comes out? For most men, panic comes out, anger comes out, excuses come out, collapse comes out, because they did not train execution. They trained comfort. Execution is training for pressure. When you execute daily, you learn something. You learn that you can do hard things without drama. You learn that you can move forward while afraid. You learn that you can handle discomfort without breaking. That creates calm. Calm is not a personality trait. Calm is a skill built through repeated exposure to strain while staying in control. Execution builds calm because execution builds competence. And competence creates confidence that does not depend on emotion. Now, let me speak to you directly, like a father speaking to a son. You are going to be tempted to build your life on hype. You will want a big moment, a big transformation, a clean new beginning. That is childish thinking. Men are not reborn in a single morning. Men are forged. Forging takes heat and repetition. So stop chasing the feeling of a new life and start building the habits of a new life. You are not behind because you lack motivation. You are behind because you lack execution. And the good news is simple. Execution is available today, not tomorrow. Today, right now. You can take one action that moves the needle, and that is how you start. One action, then another, then another. The chain becomes momentum. Momentum becomes identity. Identity becomes a new life. But you must stop worshiping motivation, because motivation makes men soft. It makes them chase comfort. It makes them quit when the feeling fades. A disciplined man does not ask for a feeling. He demands action. Let me show you what execution looks like in real life, because you need this to be practical. Execution looks like waking up and doing the first hard thing before anything else gets a vote. Because the first hard thing sets the tone. It tells your mind, you do not run this day. I do. Execution looks like training on days you feel heavy. Not with perfect performance, with honest effort. You show up, you do the work, you leave stronger. Execution looks like focused work with no distraction. One task, one target, one block. You do not touch your phone. You do not bounce between tabs like a nervous animal. You put your mind on the task, and you finish. Execution looks like simple food, not because you are trying to impress anyone, because you refuse to be owned by appetite. Execution looks like sleep protected like a weapon, because you know a tired man is a weak man. And a weak man is a dangerous liability to himself and everyone around him. Execution looks like doing what you said you would do, even when nobody would know if you did not. That last part is the difference. Men are built in private. A man can perform discipline in public. But the man you are when nobody watches is the man you truly are. So I want you to ask yourself something. Who are you in private? Do you keep your word in private? Do you execute in private? Do you stay disciplined when there is no reward? Or do you become soft the moment the pressure is gone? If your discipline disappears when nobody watches, it was never discipline, it was performance. Execution is not performance. Execution is loyalty to the standard. Son, do not build a life that depends on inspiration. Build a life that depends on structure, because structure remains when inspiration dies, and inspiration will die. It always does. There will be days you wake up empty, days you feel nothing, days your mind is fog, days life hits you and you feel like quitting. That is where men are separated. That is where the real warriors are forged. Not in the days you feel unstoppable, in the days you feel weak and still execute. Now I will tell you the ugly truth about motivation that nobody wants to admit. Motivation often comes after you start. You do not get motivated and then act. You act, and then motivation shows up. Because action wakes the nervous system. Action creates oxygen. Action creates momentum. A man sitting still will not feel fire. Fire comes from friction. So if you are waiting to feel fire, you are waiting in the wrong place. Stand up, start, do one hard thing, then another. You will feel different because you are different. You did not change your mind. You changed your behavior. And behavior rewires the mind. Some men will hear this and immediately look for a shortcut. They will ask, "What is the one trick?" There is no trick. There is a code. You execute daily. Without negotiation, you tighten the standard. You remove distractions. You stop treating comfort like a right. Comfort is earned, not demanded. And even when it is earned, you do not let it make you soft. You rest like a man. You recover so you can return to work stronger. Not so you can disappear into pleasure. A man who cannot control his rest cannot control his life. Rest becomes escape. Escape becomes addiction. Addiction becomes weakness. Weakness becomes shame. And shame poisons everything. Execution is the antidote. Execution builds self-respect. Because self-respect is not a thought. Self-respect is the result of living like a man you respect. You cannot hate yourself into becoming strong. You build yourself into becoming strong. You train, you work, you produce, you keep your word, you execute. Then you look in the mirror and you know something. You can trust yourself. And when you can trust yourself, you walk differently. You speak differently. You make decisions faster. You do not beg for approval. You do not need validation because you have something rare. Internal authority. Authority comes from evidence. Evidence comes from execution. Now let us talk about the enemy. The enemy is not lack of information. You already know what to do. You know you should train. You know you should work. You know you should cut distractions. You know you should stop feeding habits that weaken you. The enemy is friction. The enemy is your environment. The enemy is the part of you that loves comfort. So you fight the war where it matters. You do not fight it in speeches. You fight it in design. You design your day. You design your triggers. You design your access. You make execution easier and distraction harder. You put your shoes ready. You schedule your work blocks. You remove the apps that steal your attention. You clean your space. You prepare your food. You decide in advance. So in the moment, you do not rely on willpower. A man who plans is a man who respects himself. A man who does not plan is a man who expects his future self to be stronger than he is. That is a lie. Your future self is built by what you do today. So stop throwing your responsibilities onto tomorrow like it is a trash bin. Tomorrow is not a trash bin. Tomorrow is a debt collector. It collects every excuse you made today, and one day it will come with interest. I want you to understand something else. Execution makes you dangerous, but in the right way. Not reckless, not loud, dangerous through competence, dangerous through consistency, dangerous because when life hits you, you do not crumble. You adapt, you keep moving, you become the man who can be depended on. That is leadership, that is masculinity. Not dominance for attention, dominance over yourself, self-rule. Most men never achieve self-rule. They are ruled by appetite, ruled by mood, ruled by lust, ruled by distraction. So they live a small life, and they call it normal. Do not accept that. You are not here to be normal. You are here to build something, a mission, a body, a name, a legacy. And none of it is possible if you keep waiting for motivation. Because motivation does not build legacies. Execution does. You might fall. You will fail days. You will have moments where you drift. That is not the end. The end is when you accept drift as your identity. A warrior corrects fast. He does not spiral. He does not talk about how hard it is. He recommits. He returns to the standard. He executes again. That is how you win years. Not by being perfect, by being relentless about returning. Now I will close this like a man. You have a choice. You can keep chasing the feeling. Keep waiting to be motivated. Keep letting your life be dictated by your emotions, and you will stay where you are. Or you can become the type of man who executes regardless. A man who does what must be done, even when he does not want to. A man who treats discipline like oxygen. A man who builds his day on systems and standards. A man who trains boredom. A man who tolerates discomfort. A man who is loyal to his mission. That man becomes unstoppable, not because he feels unstoppable, but because he is no longer negotiable. Execution over motivation. Choose it today, then choose it again tomorrow. Build your life one clean action at a time. And one day, you will look back and realize something. You did not find motivation. You forged a man.